Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Daniel Umstead, host of the RNG radio show. Listen, I got another king on the RNG radio show, multifamily investor, y'all. But y'all know how I do. I got to run through the bio first. So, veteran of the U.S. Navy. So, thank you for that, because being a military brat. So, thank you, sir. Veteran of the U.S. Navy, served 8 years active duty and 9 years reserves. M.B.A. in finance from LaSalle University. He worked as a yield accountant for 3 years for Sunoco. In 2009, I want y'all to pay attention. 2009, he began working for the Department of Defense as a contracting officer in this role, where he assisted in awarding a $10 billion contract for the U.S. services. 2017, he purchased his first investment property, then flipped that property for a 22% ROI. Following that, he began to acquire rental properties in the Philadelphia market. He is managing partner of Cobbs Creek Capital, where he's raising capital to purchase multifamily communities in emerging markets throughout the U.S. His portfolio, take some notes, y'all. His portfolio consists of 436 units, and he's also host of the Services Syndication podcast, where he interviews real estate investors who are serving in the U.S. military or who have served in the U.S. military. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, y'all know him. Y'all should know him. If not, I need y'all to Google Cedric Marlow, King Cedric Marlow. Thank you so much for coming on the show, brother. How you doing today, man?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful, brother. Thank you for having me on your show, brother. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, pleasure is all mine. So before we get into the 436 units, before we talk about the pathway in getting to your first property, I want to start off with let's get a little bit of backstory. What made you get into real estate? What was that shift? I'm seeing M.B.A. in finance. We talked about being the yield accountant, 3 years at Sunoco, and then 2017 is like, wait, let me get this property and make some money. So if you can, for the listeners out there, talk about that story, man. What got you into real estate?
Sure. Man, as you went through in my bio, I was working for the Department of Defense, and there was this lady that sat in my row. We didn't work together, but she was in my row, so I would always pass her. And we would talk, and I mean, she would go on vacations here, there, everywhere, expensive vacations. And she would take her mom with her. She would take her sister with her. She was paying for everything. And I'm like, what's up? And she's like,
It's a secret.
she's like, yeah, I work here, but I got 22 doors that, that I manage, that I own. I'm like, single, Black female, son in college. By the way, she paid for it out of her pocket. And I think the real icing on the cake was she went and bought her son a brand new car, not a used car. He was in college, bought him a brand new car, bang, cash. I'm like, yo, hold up.
Right. I missed the memo when I was at LaSalle University. They didn't go over this in M.B.A. in finance at all. No, I'm with
No,
you.
no, not at all, not at all. And she just slowly started to pour into me knowledge and information. And she sent me a video of a guy who was, in real estate, had many doors. And I'll never forget it. He had it was an Aston Martin. It was an Aston Martin, I want to say DB7, and it was yellow, canary yellow. And then he had this house. And I want to say he lives in like Maryland or something like that, another brother. And that just bit the bug, man. I'm like, yo, I gotta do this. I gotta do it. And it just took me in a loop, man. It just spiraled from there and, got me to where I'm at now.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. And you talk about something key. She poured into you.
Yes.
A lot of people will get psoriasis analysis. They'll do all the books. They'll go to all these expensive classes, but they still don't have somebody pouring into them. So I think a lot of it, if I do say so myself, has a lot to do with somebody pouring into somebody, somebody teaching, somebody showing the methods. So we talked about multifamily real estate investor. You got a podcast going, you're building out content, and you got a job. And of course, the other important job, being the amazing husbands that we are in the world. I hope my wife heard that. But where do you find the time, man? We talked about the 9 to 5, investing. You got 436 units. How do you create your schedule to be successful that you are and continuously being successful?
Yeah, it's hard. I lied to you not. But, if you're really trying to do something, if you're trying to build something, you're gonna make time. And I have this thing now where my keyword right now is no. My keyword is no. People always, hey, Cedric, we got this going on this weekend. I got that going on this weekend. Cedric, come down, in the middle of the week. Hey man, let's hang out. Let's do this. I say no. You know why? Because I'm still building and I want to be somewhere within a short amount of time. And, I still hang out sporadically, but majority of my time, man, I spend learning. I mean, I get off, when I do, I get off work, I come home, thank God I have an understanding wife, and I'll come home and, there's the thing where like, yeah, you got your 9 to 5. Yep, you got your 9 to 5, but I go from my 9 to 5 to my 5 to 9. You know what I'm saying? I put those hours in after work. And then thank God the way my schedule is, I'm off every Friday and I make myself sit down and take care of things. And honestly, the biggest thing, is a lot of people have to do is, man, time block. You time block. You start that time blocking, but you got to stick with it. And then, like I said at the beginning of this, man, sometimes you just got to say no. If there's people out there that's, I call it non-value add. If there's certain people or certain things that are non-value add, just shrug them off, man. You just can't do everything, so that's how I find the time, brother.
Absolutely. No, and I appreciate that. And even with the no, a lot of people will say like, "Hey man, I'm busy this weekend," or they just don't feel like doing it, or because it's a big thing, mental health. A lot of people it's like, "Hey, I'm an introvert. I need to be in my own corner," which is fine, but exercise that time when y'all do say no to others and put it towards something else, whether you're listening to an audio book, whether you are doing some reading, whether you are reviewing expired listings or what have you, ladies and gentlemen, just make sure when you do say no to others for that time, block that time, instead of pointed out towards something that's going to be productive or even more importantly, that value add.
One other thing I want to say
Yeah.
before we go on is my car is like my office. I call it my office on wheels. Like when I'm traversing from here to there, I'm not listening to the latest. I have XM. Really, I have Sirius XM in my car, but I rarely listen to it. I'm going to say 95% of the time I'm in my car, I'm listening, I'm watching a podcast or listening, if I'm at a red light, I may, glance over to my phone and, see the podcast, but it's educating myself on my craft. That's the thing. Whatever it is that you're out here trying to do and trying to accomplish, you need to feed your mind and brain as much as possible. And majority of us are in our vehicles more than a lot of times we're at home. So that's what I do.
Yeah, 1000%. Ladies and gentlemen, you just got the gem of the day. Garbage in, garbage out. You got positivity in, wealth coming in. Wealth is going to be coming out. Thank you for that. What current markets are you investing in? I know we're in the Philadelphia market, but are there any specific markets, especially right now, post? I still feel like it's post COVID, but as we're beginning 2024, March actually, any specific markets that you're focused in?
Yeah. I'm more of middle of the country type of person where I like to invest. I like Arkansas. I like Ohio, very great markets. And I like, and not to bring politics into it, but I like the red states, man. I like the red states only because they're more landlord friendly states. And I like investing in those states where, there's, if, God forbid. And the last thing that I ever like to do is have to evict a resident. But if, you have to, then you want to be able to do it in as little time as possible so that you can take back your units and turn them over to get someone else in there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, and it makes sense. I mean, unfortunately, we are dealing with humans in this real estate space, whether it be getting that deal, working with a client, or in the sense of being that landlord and tenant. So, and things come up, for individuals. They could be going through a bad divorce, bad relationship, maybe have lost their job, just on down times. But at the end of the day, it's about paying the rent. So I want to make sure, everything is in order for that. But, communication is key. And then speaking of communication, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, where can they find you at on social media or even follow you, said?
Yeah, LinkedIn is probably the best place. Cedric Marlow, there on LinkedIn. You'll see this handsome face, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see this handsome face there. Of course, all the social media, what's that? Instagram. I think I'm Marlow Cedric on Instagram. And I'm on Facebook as well. Same thing, same handsome face. You'll see it. Yep, check it
Awesome.
out.
Awesome. Now, when it comes, because you mentioned Arkansas, you mentioned Ohio, plus, I don't know if y'all heard this earlier, I mentioned 436 units. Managing the property, like, are you constantly going out to Arkansas, Ohio, or do you have a team that does that? How are you managing your properties?
Yeah, it's a team sport, man. Real estate is a team sport, whether you're doing single family, multifamily, self-storage, you name it, whatever the asset class, it's a team sport. And in Arkansas, I have a business partner there, and he and I, we're on the phone, we're in contact with each other several times a week, because that's more one of my primary markets. And in the other states where I do have other assets, again, team sport, where we have people, boots on ground there, or we have a property manager, third party property manager who's handling the assets while we're there. So, we're everywhere but nowhere all at the same time.
I love that. And speaking of property manager or even a business partner, what are typically the ideal things that you do look for before you start working with somebody?
Oh yeah, yeah. So we have to sit down and we have to have a conversation. We have to make sure that we have a lot of things in common, okay? And also where I may be weak or limited, I need that other person to be strong in that area as well. So it's almost like, you're interviewing, and it's said that it's partnerships are like relationships. It's like marriages, you know, they are, easy to get into, hard to get out of. And so that's the one thing you have to take your time when you're, meeting people and you're getting to know them, to make sure that both of you are going to be a good fit. Because the last thing that you want to do is form a partnership or buy one of these properties and they want to do something totally different, and your game plan or what you had in mind was opposite of what they were. Now you're in this business for the next 3 to 7 years, and it gets rough. It could get rough, but thank God so far I've been with some very, very good partners on each one of my properties that I've been invested in. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And then the type of properties, class asset size. For those that don't know out there, you need to do your homework. There's A, for the top of the class. B and C is pretty much that average, getting to that A environment. And then D, you just got to have the toughest skin in the game for. What type of asset class sizes do you typically deal with?
Yeah, I like C, value add, and B, class assets. Those are primarily like, the ones that we like. C, for the most part, is what they call workforce type housing, people who are out here, what do you call it? Can't think of the type of jobs, but like workforce, like you're out here, blue collar. That's the word I was looking for. Blue collar type jobs, and we like bringing those assets back to life. We like taking them over from whatever people who had them before, and we put some value add into them, fixing them up inside as well as outside. And I like taking a C and definitely moving it up to like a C plus or a B. I have a couple of, I'm in one B class asset, and that thing is, oh man, I love it. I love it. That thing hums cash, man. And it's very low maintenance. That's the beautiful part about this particular asset. It's low maintenance, low turnover. I mean, this thing is very, very beautiful. And I think that was my second asset that I had purchased, multifamily anyway, that I had purchased, and love it, love it. I mean, and I think when the time comes to sell it, it's going to be a hurt piece, but
We're like, no, please don't go. Please don't go.
but we buy these assets to eventually sell them off and move on to something bigger and better.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Definitely, it's the Monopoly game. Pick up Baltic Avenue, Mediterranean Avenue. Eventually, you're gonna hit Park Place and Boardwalk. Another question that I have for you, as far as not so much the team, but you talked about the B class, the property that is humming cash flow is great. The days in the C class properties, if you will, how do you stay motivated? A lot of people get into this thinking that they got everything down pat, they got the right team, they got the right business partner, they got the property management. How do you continue on? How do you continue on when it's showing negative during that month because you had to evict somebody, or the turnover, unfortunately, is that high during the month? How do you continue on and keep going?
Yeah, well, one, you just have to know that it's a temporary blip. You know, you work with your business plan, and you just continue to work through it. Yeah, like I always say, the sun doesn't shine every day. And when you have those months where, like you said, you're having to evict people, rents are late or doesn't come in at all. You go through your steps that you set up with your property manager. After 5 days, they're late. After 10 days, they get that notice, that notice like, hey, we're getting ready to go to court. And after that, normally most people, for the most part, will pay. But in those months, man, you just got to understand that, it's a temporary blip. You look at all the months where everything went right, and just know that, okay, this month there's just something a little different, and the next month is going to bring something even better. You just have to stay positive. And that's the other thing. And that's a great question. This is a really good question, because the one thing that I do is, man, I work on my mindset. Like I said, when I'm riding in my car, I'm listening to, Tony Robbins, Les Brown. I mean, the list goes on and on of people who, talk about your mindset, working on that. And you have to be strong in this business. You really do. And you have to be around positive people. If you're around negative people all the time, man, that's going to pull on your soul. And I like to stay around positive people. And if I start to get around, if there's people around me that are very negative for whatever the reason, I move away. I move on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I mean, that brings up the rule of five. Your five closest friends predicts who you're going to be as that sixth individual. So if hanging around with five millionaires, guess who's going to be the sixth millionaire? You hanging around with five hobos, you better get that ham and cheese sandwich ready out the garbage. When it comes to, as far as that first property, what are some steps folks should be doing right now? Or if you do have a book recommendation, please let us know as well.
Okay. See, what they should be doing, I'll start with that. The book is the best ever, I think it's called Best Ever Apartment.
Syndication book. Yeah.
Syndication book. Best ever syndication. Yeah. Total great book. that's the book that you want to buy. It's almost like, you know, the Bible for apartment investing, you know. So definitely get that one. Yeah, it's that. And, you know, you just want to find you a mentor. Sometimes mentors are not always the ones that you have to pay for. One of the best things that you can do is find someone who's in the business and find out how you can add value to them. You know, if you don't have the finances to go out and pay $20,000-$30,000 for mentorship, and there's much cheaper ones as well, but you have to then ask someone who's in the business, hey, what can I do to help you out? What value can I add to you to help you get further than where you're at? I think honestly, that's one of the best ways to, learn the business, is actually jumping in feet first and trying to learn it from someone who's already doing it. And, one thing about me, honestly, is I don't mind giving out free information. I don't mind doing it because I'm one of those people who believe collaboration over competition. That's the way I operate. So I don't mind helping people out along the way. I do it often, man. I have one-on-one Zoom calls with people literally every week, and I just provide information that I've learned over the course of, I guess, 3 years now, a little bit over 3.5, almost 4 years in the multifamily space.
No, that's awesome, and greatly appreciate, man. Not a lot of people are willing to do that, or if they are willing to do that, it comes with that sticker price. It's like, hey, yeah, I got this course and program. I'll get you over to Beth, Sue, and Mike, and pay your 5,000, or we'll split up the payments for you. And it's like, I just want to know what book I should get started with. And it's like, yeah. Start with 5,000. And then we'll get back to you. So, as it relates to somebody who may be already in the game, let's say, I mean, I know you're 4 years in the game, but let's say somebody who's a year or two in the game, maybe they're at 100 unit marker and they just can't break that 100 unit. Would you say the same thing for them, or is there a different method for somebody who's trying to level up and just can't get there?
I would say, honestly, it's probably about the same way. Get into these groups. Facebook is great because there are all types of apartment groups, multifamily groups. Join those groups. Majority of them you don't pay for, and just consistently go on there, read what people are posting, and also add value wherever you can. And for those people that's already in the business, that's, like you're saying, trying to level up, again, go back to these other bigger investors. Like, hey, how can I add that value to you? What is it that I can do? One of the best things that you can do is bring them a deal, but also be done underwrote the deal, go in, underwrite the deal. That way, you're bringing them a real opportunity. And trust and believe me, you'll have more than enough people raising their hand and say, hey, I'll be that key principal on that deal. Come on in. Let's rock. Let's make it happen.
Awesome, man. Really appreciate that insight. Let's back up a little bit. The podcast, Services Syndication, you're working with military members, those who formerly serve, currently serve. Tell us a little bit more about that podcast.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Um, you know, when you're in this business, you have investors that you look for to raise capital from, to invest in your opportunities and things like that. But more so for me, the podcast is a labor of love because, as you mentioned, I was in the military, and there are so many people who are in the military that don't, you're living paycheck to paycheck, man. If you're trying to be rich, military, you're not going to do it. I'm just straight up tell you, you're not going to be wealthy in the military. And so I want to be able to give back to my military community to show that there are other ways for you to have income. You can have passive income and just build a future for you, your spouse, and your children. And this is one way that I do it, by bringing on other professionals who's already in the business, that's doing it at a high level, giving them information to help them become bigger, better in what it is that they're trying to do. But yeah, man, it's a huge labor of love for me for that with that podcast. I love it. Yeah, I love doing it.
Love that, man. Where can folks check it out at? Is it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts? Where can they tune in at?
Yeah, Spotify. It's on Spotify as well as on YouTube. Service to Syndication. Yep. Syndication podcast.
All right, cool, awesome. Now, backing up a little bit again, you mentioned Les Brown, Tony Robbins. Is there a quote that always stays on the top of your mind that keeps you going and motivated day by day as well?
Now, not from them, not from
Okay.
them, but it's just a quote that I have for myself, and it's like 1 foot further every day, 1 foot further every day. That's it. That's all you have to do, man. Just move the needle just a little bit every day. There is a quote out there that I do like. You got to be 1% better every day. And that's kind of like how I look at everything. Be 1% better every day, no matter what it is that you're doing. If it's at your 9 to 5, so be it. 1% better every day to get you to where it is that you eventually want to be.
And then as we're wrapping up here, said it's 2024. What's 2028, 2029 even looking like for you? Like where you see yourself out? What can we even be on the lookout for even in the next coming months and next 5 years for you, man?
Wow, that man. you know, uh, wow. Um,
Manifestation.
I mean, honestly, man, I really in the next 2028, 2029, man, I see myself like really and truly being fully financially free. Fully financially free, not having to worry about no 9 to 5. My wife and I being able to go wherever we want to, whenever we want to. I have this thing, where I call it lifestyle freedom, man. That's my goal. It's lifestyle freedom. And I'm getting there slowly, but I will definitely be there. In terms of multifamily, at that point, somewhere around 2,000 to maybe 2,500 units, some self-storage in there somewhere in that ballpark as well, 1,000 to 2,000 units. And also just being on the speaker circuit. That's one of my bigger, loftier goals that I have is to be on a speaker circuit, going around just pouring in as much value to people as I can. Just trying, because one of my passions, honestly, is, I just have this love for my African American community, but I want us to be better. I want us
Yeah.
to be better. I want us to learn more. If you look at all the statistics that are out there, we're almost last on every statistical positive statistical category. We're almost last. And we got to change that. We have to change that narrative. And I want to be able to go around this country and just talk to people, to show people like, look, I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm a little country boy from Arkansas, grew up on a dirt road, 9 houses on the block, on the road. 8 of them were family members. So when you talk small town USA, I'm from small town USA. Even though I'm in Philly now, I live in Philly. And so I just want to show people that you can you can overcome your circumstance, man. You can do it, but you have to want to do it, because no one's going to give you anything in this world. No one's giving you anything. It's the knowledge is here for you to go and get it. Instead of being on your phone, doing the TikTok videos and looking at dumb stuff all the time, educate yourself, man. It's free education out here. Go to YouTube University. That's what I like calling it. That's why
Yes.
I'm telling you guys, when I ride around in my car, I'm listening to YouTube. I'm educating myself. So we have to do that to change our own narrative. Let me step down off my soapbox, but that's a huge passion of mine, man. It's really advancing the African American community. So
No,
yeah,
no, you made a
2020.
valid point, and said I want people to listen into the main thing you said. You know, when you're talking about getting to the 2,500 units, you said you're getting there slowly, but the key thing is you're getting there. That 1%, 1% is not something fast. You know, 1% is not, oh, well, tomorrow I'm at 536 units. It doesn't work like that. 1% of 436 is 4, you know? So it's like, hey, if I'm doing a little bit each day, getting to it, you know, time is going to go past and it's looking back like, wow, I did a whole lot. Rather than some of these other folks like, man, did y'all see the recent Beyonce, Riri, Wiz Khalifa, Les Brown, TD Jakes video? And it's like, wait, what? And you know, and you're not pouring back into yourself. So no, it's huge, huge. And we need to do better. You know, we need more of us to understand. And there's no excuse now. Before, yes, you know, before it was like, hey, you weren't allowed in this building. Hey, you weren't allowed to read. Hey, you got in trouble if you even had a book in your hand. Now, the books is out there. Libraries are out there. They still have libraries, ladies and gentlemen. I want y'all to know that you can still walk into a library, go to the real estate section, pull stuff off, take it out, and take it home. If you're not part of the YouTube University, which everybody should be. So, no, I think it's valid and it's key and it's important that we need to understand that, and we need everybody to recognize that. As we're closing out, if you can, one more time, can you tell where folks can get in contact with you at, or even follow you on social media?
Sure. Again, go on to LinkedIn. I'm there, Cedric Marlow. Instagram, Marlow Cedric. Also, you can go to my website. It's Cobbs Creek Capital, COBBS Creek Capital.us. You can find me there. You can reach me there. And yeah, man, just feel free to reach out. Questions, comments, doesn't matter. I'm here to pour in and just literally give you guys free information to help you become better investors, regardless of who you are. I'm here for you.
Love that, man. Love that. Said, thank you again so much for coming on the show, man. Looking forward to definitely having you come back, probably by the end of next year, where you'll be at 2,000 units.
Yes, sir.
Thanks again, King.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, man.
Thank you for tuning in to the RNG Radio Show. Be sure to like and subscribe for more episodes and future content. If you'd like to learn more, visit us at danielumstead.com. Stay blessed, my fellow millionaires.